Alright everybody, I am back, and I have prepared a review of the first Sonic the Hedgehog game, which will be the first of many reviews. So, I hope you enjoy this. I'm going to start it right now, because, I don't like to keep people waiting. My question is how? How did this game make Sonic so popular? Are you telling me this is the game that saved Sega? How? What is so special about this particular title? Today, I aim to answer that question. I will go over the positive of the game, and then I will go over the negative, and then I will explain why this game is so popular. Hopefully. Okay, so probably the best part of this game is the music. Every track, except Marble Zone, I hate Marble Zone, is awesome? No. They are spectacular. So much care was put into this music. If I had to rank all the tracks, it would go in this order, from worst to best. Marble Zone. I don't like this track. It doesn't feel as interesting and alive as it should. Final boss theme. This theme is good, but kinda repetitive. Starlight Zone. This track is kinda repetitive, but I mean, it's still a great track. Scrap Brain Zone. This track gives the area feeling really well. It is a very interesting and cool sounding track. Spring Yard Zone. This track is perfect. It gives off the perfect vibe. A crazy, almost amusement park sounding song. And of course, Green Hill Zone. This track is classic, and for good reason. It's interesting, a little cartoony, and incredibly catchy. So yeah, the music is cool. But I could say that for pretty much every other Sonic game, even Sonic 06, and that game is a dumpster fire. Pixel art is amazing. Even in the worst zones, it portrays the environment perfectly. All the enemies have character, with Eggman's art probably being the funniest. But Sonic, oh, I think animators had fun with Sonic. His running is over the top. His idle animation is funny. He is simply a very likable character. The platforming in this game is some of the best in some of the best. That was way too dramatic. If you have kept up to date with IGN, you may have seen this quote from one of their shows.
I think we're at the point where we need to admit that this was never really a great franchise.
Nope.
And that we keep trying to find this thing that was never really actually there.
Sonic was never good.
You probably understand why this is infamous online. Now, obviously, as a Sonic fan, I must disagree. Sonic's mainline games have almost always been good. In fact, I would argue every mainline original Sonic game was great. Except this one. Look, if you people really looked at that thumbnail and thought, this guy is gonna give an incredibly biased opinion on Sonic 1 and praise it to death, you are insane, because I made this video so I could fight against these biased reviews, as if that wasn't already implied. Just because this was one of the first games I played does not mean I think it's good. Starting the franchise doesn't excuse it either. Sure, it may look good, it may sound good, but when it comes to gameplay, this game is atrocious. Okay, so where do I even begin with this one? Oh, I know! The Marble Zone! Okay, so not the Marble Zone specifically, just the levels in general, but, you know, you get the point. When it comes to speed and difficulty, this game is stupidly inconsistent. You see, speed really doesn't matter in most of this game. You can go fast at Green Hill Zone, and you have a ton of fun, but spoiler alert, Green Hill Zone is literally the peak level of the game, because after Green Hill Zone, you start the Marble Zone, the most annoying stage in the game. Why is it annoying? Because it forces you to go slow to progress. It starts out all fine, but that's only the surface. In the underground portion, you have to slow down and push these dumb rocks, then stand still on these annoying platforms. After Green Hill Zone, you really want to speedrun this zone. You really want to, but you can't. And if you try, you die. Well, how about Spring Yard Zone? Spring Yard Zone is actually a good level. You can mostly speedrun it, and even when you can't, it's still interesting, though a little drawn out. Labyrinth Zone might be the worst zone, though. You know why? It's underwater! Not only does this zone force you to go slow, it punishes you for going fast! You see, there are these stupid spear things, and yeah, you get it. But then, it will punish you for going slow because there are these random platforms that move you into spikes unless you react fast. On top of all that, the constant need to grab air bubbles makes pacing inconsistent as if it wasn't already. Overall, this zone is just bad. Oh yeah, except the music. Well, you may be thinking, what about the Starlight Zone? That zone is decent. And you would be half right. Starlight Zone is pretty open and does allow you to go fast. Within reason. There are a few random pits that would make the level hard to speedrun. If you know the level, you can manage. But if you don't, uh-oh! You just fell off the ledge! The problem with this is that the game does nothing to warn you that you are running directly into a pit. So you could just be running, and then the ground just drops. Platforming in this level is weird. The ground is layered, so sometimes if you fall, you have to start at an earlier part in the level. Some places where you need to jump to another platform don't make sense, so you end up getting confused. So this level is kinda okay, I guess? Scrap Brain Zone. Oh boy. This zone is weird. It basically falls into the exact same pits as the Starlight Zone. Speaking of pits, the two opening pits at the beginning of the level are so badly placed. You're just running like usual, and then, oop, get trolled! That's all I really have to say about this zone. Oh yeah, and the water part stinks. The bosses, they are all too easy. The Spring Yard Zone is okay, but that's it! Even the final boss, which is so hyped up, it's over before you know it. Like, seriously, there's a reason this final boss is a halfway boss in Sonic Mania. I said I would give an answer. Here it is. Sonic was undeveloped. Let me explain. When Sega first developed the Sega Genesis, their whole ad campaign was, Sega does what Nintendo don't. You probably know this story. Sega made garbage games, tried to sell them, just because they looked better. Then, they made Sonic. And you know what? They did try. Because this game was not only 16-bit and had enhanced graphics or whatever, but it had an iconic, likable character, cool music, a better platforming experience. You see, that's the problem. The platforming. Sonic the Hedgehog wants to do its own thing, but at the same time, it is so insistent on rivaling Mario. Sonic was never a speed experience, like the new games. Sonic is a platformer forced to be better than Mario. And you know what? It succeeded. Fans loved it because the platforming was better. They couldn't compare it to the pure speed of the other Sonic games because there were none. This was the first one. Fans liked it then because it could fight Mario. But I don't like it because I think that Sega had a different vision for Sonic. One that wouldn't come until Sonic 2. But for now, we only have this. My final rating for this game, 5 out of 10. for what it was not great. Alright, so I mentioned this briefly at the beginning of the video, that this review just isn't a random review. I'm actually working on playing through every single Sonic game. Yes, every one, including the dumb spin-offs. But, as for this video, it has concluded. Now, this part that I'm speaking right now is completely unscripted. Here are a few corrections I need to make. First of all, I completely forgot to mention the special zones. They're bad. They're really bad. Okay, they're really bad. That's all I really need to say about them. Just look up a video or something. They're bad. Okay? And the other thing was, when I was talking about music earlier, I forgot to mention the Labyrinth Zone by accident. So, yeah, that was my bad. But, yeah. A lot of time and effort went into this video. I think it took me about, 5 hours to edit it, and that's not counting playtime. So if you like what you see, subscribe, because I'm going to be playing through the entire Sonic series. It's going to be a while, but, you know, if you at least like the video, can you like it? Like the button, not like, you know, mentally liking the video. Anyway, that's all I got. Goodbye.